Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Welcome back. It's been a minute. It's felt like a while. Jay and I were talking over the break. I was like, dude, we haven't done this damn show in forever, but this is Wake Up with Ray G, presented and brought to you by Bets TV. Make sure you subscribe to the Wake Up with Ray G podcast. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Bets TV YouTube channel, and go to betstv.com to check out all the dope content over there that we have to offer. But it's good to see all my friends, Lindsey, Max, Stone, Carl, Reed, Bruning, Ty. Ty was talking trash to me in one of our Dynasty Leagues the other day. He messaged me in the channel and was like, hey, you got a better shot of hitting him in the Discord or just roast his ass on the Wake Up with Ray G comments, man. Good to see y'all, man. It's good to be back. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very excited to be here. You know, we had a good little weekend. We had some time away from each other.
Yeah.
I think it was good for our relationship. You know, we spend a lot of time talking to each other, both on the air, off the air. People don't realize, like, sometimes, you know, we get into some arguments, but that's okay because the love's still there. The break was good. But excited to be here. Have to give a shout out to Stone because his Wolverines got a dub and we doubted them.
No, we didn't doubt them. I gave them a chance. I went back and watched the show and I gave them a chance. And let's get this clear. We don't argue. If you would just do as I ask, like when I ask you to do something the way that I ask you to do it, if you would just do that, it would save this relationship a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. But of course, you march to the beat of your own drum, and that's what I love about you. But that's also what pisses me off about you as well. But we're glad to be back. Good to be here. Just some content scheduling updates. This too will be a short week. It's my wife and I's fifth anniversary on December 3rd. So we'll be going out of the country on Thursday. So we'll be here with you Monday through Wednesday. I don't know what's going to happen Thursday and Friday. Jay may do the show by himself. We may not have it. We'll figure that out. We'll let y'all know once Wednesday approaches. But this will be another short week for the Wake Up with Ray G show. But it's all good, man. We got a lot of content. We come to y'all 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we got a lot to get into. I'm excited. I got the USC hat on today because this is why you shoot your shot. You miss 100% of the shots you do not take, and I was very nervous as we continue to see coaches being hired across the college football landscape. I was like, we're going to end up with Jack Del Rio. We're going to end up with, Luke Fickell re-signed with Cincinnati. I was like, damn it, there goes Luke Fickell. And then there were early reports that former Oklahoma Sooners head coach Lincoln Riley was in deep conversations with LSU to take his coaching talents to the SEC to Baton Rouge. And I'm texting my homeboys at home, and I'm like, damn it, and we were like, what if we could just take a shot? I've got actual receipts where we're like, man, Lincoln Riley to USC, it could happen. And we're just like, nah, no way, no how. And a few hours later, boom, baby, Lincoln Riley, USC's newest head coach. It will be announced today. Jay, I went to bed with a smile on my face. I woke up in a very, very good mood. I cannot understate how big of a signing this is for USC, who for a very long time, honestly, since there were national championship expectations from the Trojans, I think it was the Lane Kiffin era, the last year of Matt Barkley, last year of Robert Woods, and it's been downhill from there. And not just from a wins and losses perspective, but the recruiting base. USC, we have seen so many top-level recruits, high school talent, leave the state of California. Let me just mention a couple to you, Jay, in case you're unaware. Matt Corral, from California, played at Long Beach Poly, left the state of California because USC was a dumpster fire. Bryce Young, who we'll talk about here in a few minutes, from California, leaves the great state. Najee Harris, from California, goes to Alabama. DJ Uyunglele, I know he hasn't been that good at Clemson, but from the state of California, leaves the home base because the Trojans have been just a dumpster fire for quite some time. They got hit with sanctions because of the Reggie Bush fiasco, which decreased our scholarship allotment, and it has not been pretty under the Clay Helton era. USC seem to have a history of just hiring their own. It would just go from one assistant coach, and then that coach leaves, and it's Sark, and it's Lane Kiffin, then it's Clay Helton. Clay Helton had no business continuing being the USC head coach for as long as he did. I vividly remember, I believe it was the 2016 season, Jay. I spent a large amount of money to go to the USC versus Alabama opening game here in Dallas, Texas, and we left about midway through the third quarter. It was just an absolute just slaughtering of USC, and it's been downhill from there. Since Clay Helton took over, we have one conference championship, and that was in 2017. Other than that, 5-4, 10-3, 5-7, 8-5, 5-1, 1-1. Just not a very good record for the Trojans. Lincoln Riley takes over Oklahoma in 2017, so just about the same time, couple of years less as head coach for Oklahoma. 12-2, 12-2, 12-2, 9-2 in a COVID-filled season, and this year a down year for Oklahoma. They're still 10-2. He's won three conference championships in 4 years. He's produced 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, 2 number 1 overall picks, and countless high-level NFL stars. CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews, Kyler Murray. We ain't gonna say Baker Mayfield is a star. He's coached, some of the best like Joe Mixon. He's got a great offensive staff. This was a fantastic hire. Oklahoma's recruiting class rankings since 2017. Ranked 8th in 2017 nationally, 1st in the Big 12. You go to 2018, they were 9th in the country in total recruiting class, 2nd in the Big 12. 2020, 12th in the country. USC, we've seen classes as low as 55 in the country, which is inexcusable for a team where outside of Texas, Florida, California, those are the 3 biggest high school pipeline states. And in college football, you have to win your home state. You cannot allow teams like Ole Miss, teams like Alabama, teams like Oklahoma, teams like Ohio State to travel halfway across the country, hell, across the entire country, come to your home state and poach 5-star talent. This is an opportunity for USC to truly ascend back to what they used to be when I grew up watching them, right? When they were at their peak in those early Pete Carroll years with Reggie Bush, with Lindell White, with Matt Leinart. They absolutely can be back on top of the Pac-12. I have low expectations in year one. I'm tempering my excitement, enthusiasm in year one. If we're 8-4 next year, 9-3, I think that's a successful season for USC. But by 2023 and 2024, I truly believe if Lincoln Riley can just hire a competent defensive coordinator, they don't have to be Georgia, all right? They don't need to be Georgia. They don't need to be lights out Alabama. Just competent. Just don't bring Oklahoma's defense to SoCal. They'll be in the college football playoff in 2 to 3 years. They'll be right there competing for a national championship because that offense is loaded. We've already seen some of the highest rated recruits in the country. Malachi Nelson. I know Damani Jackson decommitted from USC earlier this month. But now that Lincoln Riley's in, the possibilities are endless. Caleb Williams, there's rumblings that the sensational freshman from Oklahoma, Caleb Williams, might be open to transferring to USC. And with these new transfer rules, they don't even have to sit out a season. So there's a very real possibility that going into next season, the starting quarterback, I love Jackson Dart, love him. Haven't been that excited for a freshman quarterback at USC. I don't know, man. It's been a long damn time since we've been this excited about a freshman quarterback like Jackson Dart. But if Caleb Williams comes, Jackson Dart's probably going to end up transferring. This is just such a swing for the fences, big-time move, and Lincoln Riley can truly build his own dynasty and his own legacy at USC. Jay, you know I am a big... You see the USC Trojans helmet at the top. Juju Smith-Schuster up there. USC Trojans. I am ecstatic, Jay. What did you think about this hire? Did it shock you? It shocked the hell out of me because I didn't think there was any. I truly believed we were going to end up with Matt Campbell from Iowa State, and I was already making peace with that. I was like, all right, well, Matt Campbell's not bad. But this is just outside of Urban Meyer, I don't think that USC could have made a better hire for their program. I don't give a damn about Oklahoma fans crying right now about Lincoln Riley, left him high and dry. Don't care. See ya, Oklahoma. There's a big difference between being the guy in Norman, Oklahoma, and being the guy in sunny Los Angeles. I don't know if you've ever been to LA. I've been to LA and I've been to Norman, Oklahoma. If I had to choose where I could play at and build my dynasty and the kids that I can recruit, give me LA over Norman, Oklahoma any day. Hey, I'm no hate to my Oklahomans out there. We got love for y'all as well. But damn it, I'm a happy Trojans fan today. Jay, what'd you think about the hire, man?
I was shocked, honestly. I wasn't that tapped into the market. I didn't hear the rumblings of Lincoln Riley potentially going to USC. But I think more importantly, we're going to see a seismic shift in transfers, in even Oklahoma players potentially wanting out now. And I'm curious to see the ripple effect from it. Like you talked about, Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall pick. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall pick. Jalen Hurts probably got a little bit of a Lincoln Riley bump too, right? Like, let's be real. He probably wasn't a first-round pick. He probably wasn't even a second-round pick until he went to Oklahoma, got in that Lincoln Riley system, and now he's kind of playing the same style of offense in the NFL in some respects. So I'm curious to see what happens, because I can't think of another coach that would create, like, other than maybe Nick Saban leaving Alabama, that would create this type of seismic shift. 55-10, like we mentioned, a bunch of Big 12 titles. But it's just funny because last year you kind of heard the rumblings a little bit. Riley's like, I'm definitely not leaving. Now all of a sudden this USC job opens up and he's like, he was gone. Like he must have decided weeks ago.
Yeah.
And people are talking about the SEC and he was unhappy about it. That's got to be a bunch of BS. Like he knows that he's not necessarily good enough to beat SEC teams. So he ran and went to the Pac-12. I'm fully on board with that narrative. Even though I think Lincoln Riley's a good coach, I don't think he can compete with SEC teams necessarily. And I could see a situation where being in the Big 12, you dominate year after year in the college football playoff year after year. He's 0-3 in the college football playoff, but at least he's making it every year, unlike a lot of teams. But at USC, he will have the cachet. He will have the program. He will have everything he needs to get back to that college football playoff. But I'm curious what happens with the Pac-12. Does this bring more coaches to the Pac-12 now that Lincoln Riley's there and bring them back up a little bit? We talk a lot of smack about the Pac-12, whether it's Oregon, whether it's USC, whether it's UCLA. I think this could make the Pac-12 more relevant having Lincoln Riley there.
Here's the thing. The Pac-12 was relevant until USC shit the bed. I mean, USC is like the stock market. They say the fangs hold the stock market up. Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Netflix, Google. The USC is the FANG stock of the Pac-12, literally. As USC goes, the Pac-12 goes. Think about it. Over the past 5 years, Oregon has been pretty damn good. They've been a very good school, probably one of the better teams in the Pac-12, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. No, they were number 3 in the country and were underdogs to Utah. Bruning just said it. USC is an elite tier program in an elite city. You know what I mean? It's Los Angeles.
Big market.
And when USC is at the top, and now you throw in NIL money, dude, these kids are going to come out of the woodworks to say, let's bring this back. And it's the same thing, and we'll talk about Michigan in a second, but it's almost the same thing that I think has happened with Kevon Thibodeau to a certain degree. Aiden Hutchinson is an absolute monster. I truly believe he's the best player in college football. If you're just talking about who's the best player in college football, I 100% wholeheartedly believe that defensive end Aiden Hutchinson is the best player in college football. But when you talk about the number 1 overall pick, it's been Kevon Thibodeau all year. And after 1 week, everyone's like, now it's Aiden Hutchinson. I think it's a product. Nobody stays up to watch the Pac-12. Nobody, it comes on at these obscure times. Nobody on the East Coast, nobody down south. After Alabama goes off, they shut the damn TV off. No one's staying up at 12 o'clock at night to watch the Pac-12. People will stay up to watch USC. And what's interesting about USC's schedule, 3 years from now, USC plays LSU in Las Vegas to open the season up. And we've already looked at tickets for that. We will be at that game, so we'll probably be doing Wake Up. It's August 31st. USC plays.
What year is that?
August 2024 schedule. 2024 schedule. USC LSU August 31st in Las Vegas. So Lincoln Riley will get a chance to play an SEC opponent, but he can truly dominate the Pac-12. This is a move where just the same way that Brian Kelly has built his legacy at Notre Dame, the same way that Nick Saban has built his dynasty at Alabama, I believe Lincoln Riley can do that with the recruits, with the city, with the infrastructure, with this new system, with transfer rules, NILs. I fully expect USC to be right back in the mix. I'm being patient. I'm not going to say next season. But by 2023, 2024, USC should be competing for a national championship. So I'm just smiling, man. I am so
Jackson
happy.
Dart, man, to the moon. To the moon.
It made all the pain that I felt on Thanksgiving night from the Dallas Cowboys debacle just go away. Because when I say I was in a foul mood around the family after that, when I was in a foul mood, but we got our coach, USC, we're back. Fight on, baby. Oh, man. Twitter and YouTube is going to be flooded with USC commentary from me for a very long time. So I'm going to will myself into a USC insider. It's going to happen, man. I'm going to make this happen. But we've got to talk about another college football matchup, Ohio State, Michigan, and Hassan Haskins, baby. What more can you say about Jim Harbaugh? You know what, damn it? Should I do it? Should I put the helmet on for Michigan fans? Will it curse Michigan if I put this damn helmet on?
Though. There's no ramifications for you as a fan.
None.
You're just cursing Michigan.
Just
Michigan.
If
you want to.
I'm not going to put it on. I'm not going to put
it.
Lindsey Mack said no, for the love of everything. Do not put it on. All right, Michigan beat Ohio State. What was it, 42-28? Was that the final score, 42-27? 42-27. And I did a college football recap show. Check out the RayGQue YouTube channel. I talked about this game, and here's the thing. And I think this is consistent, whether it's the NFL, whether it's college. The offensive and defensive lines, whoever controls the trenches, I mean, that's no matter how many skill position players you have, Michigan out-physicaled Ohio State on both sides of the ball. Defensive line and offensive line. The fact that they just ran it down Ohio State's throat at will, I have not seen an Ohio State defense devoid of superstar talent in a long time, man. Normally, they've got first-rounders all over the place, and I know they've got a couple of cornerbacks who project to be pretty good. I know Garrett Haskell's all right at D-tackle, but, man, this Ohio State defense, it came back to bite them in the ass, and all those amazing pass catchers they have. Trevion Henderson, I've said it, I believe he's the best running back in college football. They could not do anything with Michigan up front, and I apologize. Everybody from the state of Michigan, every Michigan Wolverines fan, Jim Harbaugh, I talked so much junk about Michigan to start this season. Probably one of my worst takes outside of Jalen Reagor was how bad Michigan was, because Rager's pretty damn bad, but I even gave him more credence than I gave Michigan and their chances of beating anybody this season, and this has probably been Jim Harbaugh's most masterful coaching job that we've seen since he took the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl about 10 years ago, close to 10 years ago now. Just dominant up front. All he needed Cade McNamara to do was not screw it up, and he did throw an interception in the red zone early in that matchup. But 5 touchdowns for Hassan Haskins. Blake Corum ripped off a 55-yard run. They threw in the true freshman quarterback to complete a crucial 31-yard pass. This was just... It was as dominant of a performance against, the best offense in college football that I've seen. And a lot of people are going to point the blame at C.J. Stroud. A lot of people are going to say C.J. Stroud ruined it. He didn't do well. C.J. Stroud, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. I really do. And the fact that he's this good now, to see where he came from at the start of the season to where he ended up, I mean, nothing short of incredible by C.J. Stroud, but he's still... The key, and they talked about it all pregame, and I don't know why they didn't help with Aiden Hutchinson. I don't know who 75 is, but there was a clip floating around wherever 75, the left tackle, was going to be drafted, he just got knocked down 2 rounds from that rep versus Aiden Hutchinson. You pressure C.J. Stroud, and he can't operate, man. And they were on his ass all game long, and I know Jackson Smith and Jigba made some incredible catches, and Garrett Wilson. A lot of people were like, those were just prayer balls that C.J. Stroud was just throwing up, and the wide receivers were making him look good. I don't know. I don't think he played his best game, but I don't think that loss was on C.J. Stroud. That loss was on Ohio State's coaching staff. That loss was on the offensive front and the defensive front for Ohio State. I'm not going to put that on C.J. Stroud, but an impressive victory by the Michigan Wolverines. Just hats off to them because they played a hell of a game. Anything from you, Jay? I know you watched it, man. Anything you got to add to this one?
My biggest thing with OSU, and we haven't seen that all this season, is that they couldn't score touchdowns, right? They kicked 2 field goals within 30 yards, and that was kind of the ultimate equalizer of the game. Michigan, every time they got the ball, they went down the field and they scored a touchdown. I don't think they punted a single time that game. Then you look at Ohio State. They went down the field. C.J. Stroud had tons of yards. Trayvon Henderson had a great game, but they couldn't score enough touchdowns to win the game. I think the craziest part about Michigan beating OSU is you have Michigan losing to Michigan State pretty badly, I might add, and I believe that game was on the road. And then you have OSU pounding Michigan State at home, and then you have ultimately Michigan beating OSU. So that whole trio, like, I'm curious how the committee kind of shakes that out. Obviously, this game is the biggest one for sure. But it's a weird situation in college football this year, just chaos.
Yeah.
And we almost got more chaos heading into the next game.
We almost got more chaos. And this one I was watching while I was on the plane. I was sitting across from a gentleman and his son who were Alabama fans. And we're on the plane. And I shit you not, Jay, as we're on the plane, it was the 3rd down play where Bryce Young threw the touchdown to Ja'Cory Brooks. Yeah. And we're, they're like, turn your phones off. Like, fuck that. I'm not turning no phone off. Damn it. They're about to. And as soon as he threw the ball, like, the internet cut out. So it was just frozen. No. So we're like, what happened? Like, what? Because, at this point, it was still 10-3. It was 10-3. Mm-hmm. He had to drive the ball down the field 98 yards. And we're both like, what happened? What happened? And then all of a sudden, once we got in the air, it came back on. And then they were in overtime. We're like, shit, it happened. But Bryce Young, listen, he did not play particularly well for 3.5 quarters. He was 25 for 51, 317, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But when the game mattered most, this young man has freaking ice water in his veins. Because when Auburn punted this ball, first of all, the game was brutal. There were like, I think the first 19 possessions, there were 15 punts. It was brutal. Alabama lost their best wide receiver, Jameson Williams. Nick Saban continues to put his star receivers on punt coverage, and he got ejected for targeting. I'm like, what the And he had Devonta Smith. Not only was Devonta Smith a gunner on punt team, he was also the damn cornerback on punt. What are we doing? And then I see Chris Olave was on damn punt team as well. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this, man? Anyway, J-Mo goes out, and, Brian Robinson is ass, like I've been telling everybody all year. He's god-awful. I mean, he runs very hard. I have no interest in him from a fantasy football perspective next year. Just zero. I guess I'll just draft him because he's an Alabama running back. Maybe he'll be Bo Scarborough at best. But this game was god-awful for 3.5 quarters. Auburn did everything possible to give the game to just do something, Auburn. I mean, Alabama, they're dropping 4th down snaps. They're fumbling field goal attempts. As bad of an Alabama game as I've ever seen. I mean, I truly think they deserve to be ranked 4th in the college football playoffs standings after this dub. They really deserve to be 4th. They have no shot. I don't think they have a chance, a snowball's chance in hell to beat Georgia in the SEC title game. It could get real ugly for Alabama, which, if they lose, then God will have to see Notre Dame in the college football playoff, and nobody wants to see that at all. No interest in Notre Dame. But driving the ball 98 yards down the field after Tank Bigsby took that sweep, should have went down. He's a young player, goes out of bounds, saves Alabama about 40-something seconds.
40 seconds,
with no timeouts left, and they needed all that time to get it done. That was his Heisman winning moment. Bryce Young is going to win the Heisman Trophy. I'm going to win some money off of a bet because I did get him at like plus 800. Bryce Young's going to win the Heisman Trophy, but I stand by it. The best player in college football is Aiden Hutchinson, who's now, I think 4th or 5th in the Heisman odds after his performance versus Ohio State. But that was his Heisman moment. As dominant as a final drive as you can ask for from a young player. He just reminded me of Russell. I just look at him. He's a Russell Wilson. He's a slimmer version of Russell Wilson. What were your thoughts on that 4 overtime thriller?
Oh man, what a game! I got to be honest with the people. I was cheering for Auburn. After OSU lost, I wanted chaos. I wanted more chaos. I'm like, I need the chaos in the college football landscape. But in that moment, Tank Bigsby, like you mentioned, sweet play. Don't know why you run a sweet play, because these college players, they aren't. I don't know. I want to say they aren't there mentally, but you see these mental mistakes a lot more from college players, NFL players. He went out of bounds. He was kind of pulled out of bounds too. It wasn't entirely his fault, but he should have went down. Auburn, holy shit, man. They just did everything they could to lose. They kept dropping back. They kept trying to pass the ball with TJ Finley, even though the dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He was missing missing Alabama defenders on throwing the ball. Like, legitimately, he should have thrown another pick that was so wide it missed an Alabama defender in zone coverage. On top of that, he threw it right at a linebacker who must have had at least a 35-inch vertical, because he went up and got it. Yeah. But there was zero touch on the ball. Like, you saw the strike he hit on the receiver in overtime, which is a dope pass, bullet in the end zone, one-handed catch. But when he has to throw a touch pass, you see what happens. He throws it right at linebackers. Just no wherewithal as to where these guys are. But to talk about the final drive, I texted our boy Brandon. I'm like, Brandon, this is his Heisman moment. If he gets this done, it's his Heisman moment. And he did not look good. And even on this final drive, he didn't look that good. He made a couple good throws. John Mechie had a great fourth quarter and overtime, ultimately caught the game-winning 2-point conversion, touchdown, whatever you want to call it. But to your point, he made that throw 2 plays prior on first down. So that throw he made to Jameson Williams, he threw it closer in the end zone. But what it reminded me of actually was Tua in the Natty. That's what I saw, right? Like, when I think there wasn't the drama of the first play with the sack, but it was third down. He already threw the bomb. I'm like, Jameson Williams came back. He didn't run the fly.
Ja'Cory Brooks.
Sorry, Ja'Cory Brooks, right? He didn't run the fly. It's his first time starting, and that was actually his first touchdown on top of that. Then Bryce Young said, you know what, kid, go run deep. And he did it that time, and he ended up scoring a touchdown.
Well, what happened was he threw deep because he thought Brooks was going to run to the end zone, but Brooks stopped for a comeback route, and he overthrew it. But to have the confidence to go back to him, it was impressive, man. That final, like I said, half a fourth quarter in overtime, Bryce Young was sensational, because and what it made me think, Jay, was honestly, I think we do this in sports a lot, whether it's the NBA with the Golden State Warriors and them winning, 72 games that season, whether it's the Patriots and their dominance. I think even Alabama, I think we don't appreciate how difficult it is to be that good for that long. You know what I mean? Alabama went from Jalen Hurts to Tua Tagovailoa to Mac Jones, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Devonta. I mean, they've had Heisman trophies, national championships, consensus All-Americans, players of the – like, they've been so good for so long. When they take just a small step back, like, people were like, that they're terrible, right?
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's the end of the world. And I think it's just one of those things where until you've gone from the mountaintop to the dumpster like USC did, you don't really appreciate how good you got it. Like, I am not going to ever say anything bad about Lincoln Riley for as long as he's the head coach, because USC went from the pinnacle, the top of the mountain, to the juice that's at the bottom of the trash can. So I think Alabama fans and fans of college football, whether you like the Roll Tide or not, you got to appreciate just how dominant they are. Nick Saban said in an interview, every week people want to beat us. Every week they're going to give us their best shot. And I don't know if you saw the tweet that I tweeted out that where all the fan reactions in that game were priceless. The one with all the white women, and I tweeted out, this is what it looks like when she brings home DeAndre for Thanksgiving. That was a good one. That was a good one, because they were all in shock. But man, Bo Nix, all that trash he was talking, he had a dumb look on his face as well.
Do you think he would have won that game?
No, hell no. No.
Really?
No,
I think he would have won that game.
No.
You look at how bad TJ Finley was. I think Bo Nix
No.
would have won that game if you just swapped them out. But then the other point that John Mechie pointed out is Bryce Young called that whip route on the game-winning play. He told Mechie to run it. They ISO'd him.
He's good.
He gave him a lot of credit for that play, and Mechie obviously ran to perfection.
College football's in a good place with young quarterbacks, man. I mean, there's some really talented young guys out there in college, and a lot of players that people haven't heard of that will continue to just grow and grow. It's been a wild college season, one of the most open, yet we all know everything is going to run through Georgia, man. We'll see how it plays out, but there were a lot of other good college games, but we can't get to that. We've got to get to some of the NFL action. Where are we? I don't even know where we're at. I'm just so giddy, man. I'm just so excited. Where are we at? What are we doing? Where am I supposed to go?
We gotta start with Thursday. We got to start with, unless you want to skip it, but we got to start with Thursday. Your Dallas Cowboys dropping the ball on Thanksgiving.
I don't have the energy right now. We'll talk about them tomorrow. I honestly go if you want to say whatever you need to say about them. I don't have the energy.
No, we'll talk about them tomorrow then.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about. Remember, I told you my game of the week. This was the game that you didn't even want to include in the show until the Colts won and beat the Bills. Tampa Bay beats Indianapolis 38-31. Tampa covers. I believe the over hit. Yeah, the over hit. Leonard Fournette, 24 touches, 131 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the game-sealing touchdown to end the game. What a spectacular performance from Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
And you talk about a game that really didn't do a whole lot for the Buccaneers. It was the turnovers. It was the defense. It was a lot of things. Like, it was just a really good game, a lot of back and forth. Like, I caught this game mostly in the second half because I was out a little bit prior to that. But Brady wasn't that great. Rob Gronkowski, vintage performance, man. Every time Brady needed to play, Rob Gronkowski was there. He had 130 yards, 7 receptions. The next leading receiver was Leonard Fournette with 31 receiving yards. So take that in. Chris Godwin didn't do anything. Mike Evans didn't do anything. Cameron Brate didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was all Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, and this defense that put up 38 points on this Colts defense, knowing that the Colts still put up 31. It was a big game for both teams, and I honestly, man, I think the Colts are for real, and I think the Colts could probably win this division pretty easily with how bad the Titans look right now.
I think that, Carson Wentz, would Philly be better with Carson Wentz right now is my question. Would they? He
was good. I don't know if they'd be better, but his stat line is not indicative of his actual performance. He was really good in this game.
Yeah.
And Frank Wright abandoned the run like an idiot. He did not need to abandon the run.
No.
But he did.
No.
It was stupid.
Jonathan Taylor was well on his way to being matchup proof. I mean, when they finally decided to give him the ball in the second half, I mean, he just does what he does versus everybody, right? He just shreds defenses, and he was shredding Tampa Bay. 16 for 83, 4 receptions, didn't have a lot of yards. I heard an interesting sort of like quote during the broadcast. Do NFL teams play to their strengths, or do they play away from the defense's strengths? You know what I mean? Like, do you do what you do? No, it's a really good point. Like, regardless of who you play, do you play to your strength every week? If you know that you're a ground and pound team, I don't care what their defensive rating is, we are going to run the ball, I don't care. Or if you know the opposing defense is the best in the NFL against the run, do you alter your offensive plan to sort of cater to what they do, to cater against what they do well? And I'm listening to that, and I'm thinking, if I were a head coach, F that, man. If we're one of the best run teams in the NFL, I don't care who we're playing against, we're not going to abandon our identity. And I thought for a little bit, Indianapolis did that. And had they just stuck with Jonathan Taylor, I think they would have won this game. Now, it was crazy because at one point I'm watching, and Indy was up like 23-10 or something like that, 21.
Yeah.
Then next thing I turn away, I watch Philly, the Giants, I turn back, and the Bucs are up. I'm like, what the hell happened? With Tom Brady not doing anything. Leonard Fournette, just vintage Lenny, man. He's playing out of his mind, and they actually got Ronald Jones involved as well. You're starting to see him, and he provides a different element. They ain't gonna throw him the ball, but he's pretty damn explosive when he runs. He's fast. Like, he's a different running back than Leonard Fournette. But I'm with you. I think the Colts are for real. We've talked about the Titans. I did not believe in them at all. Like, especially after losing Derrick Henry. And everybody out there that says running backs don't matter and Derrick Henry doesn't, like, it matters. And I know they had a running back that had a big game yesterday. He ripped off a big run on third down versus New England. But this team is not the same. The trio that everybody talked about in preseason, Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, who's going to stop them? Apparently a pinky toe, a hamstring, and all the injuries that A.J. Brown sustains, that's who's going to stop him, because that trio, outside of Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones have done nothing this year. And I'm starting, in Dynasty Fantasy Football, Jay, I'm starting to get a tad bit, more than a tad bit concerned about A.J. Brown, man. He's always beat up, man. He's always beat up. And we'll talk some more injuries tomorrow. But I'm with you. I think the Colts are for real. I do think they're going to win this division. Tampa Bay, defensively, they need to play better on defense, man. I mean, Jack Doyle went off on them. Gronk, we talked about Gronk doing this thing. Whenever Gronk is healthy, you got to start him. I benched him in a couple of leagues because I didn't know. That was a mistake. But Tampa Bay's great. And I do think Indianapolis is for real. Like, Frank Wright's doing a good job with that team. Carson Wentz takes a lot of shit because he makes some boneheaded plays, but overall, he's been really good this season. Carson Wentz has been really good. Hopefully, he gets some votes for Comeback Player of the Year. He's not going to win it. He's not going to win it, but it'd be nice to see him get a couple of votes because a lot of people left Carson Wentz for dead. And if you're Indianapolis, do you continue to build around Carson Wentz? I don't think there's a quarterback in this class that I'd rather have over Carson Wentz, to be honest with you. And that, if I were starting a team, I guess if Matt Corral was there, sure. But outside of that, I think Carson Wentz, you probably need to go ahead and lock him up and let him be the quarterback for at least maybe like a 3 or 4 year deal with an out after 2 or 3. I think you build around Carson Wentz. You build around Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. You get another wide receiver in there, get some more defensive help. I think Indianapolis is well on their way to being a good team in the AFC. Another team, Jay, that is that's there. They're for real. The New England Patriots, 36-13 versus the Titans. Honestly, it wasn't much of a game. I mean, New England dominated them like every which way possible. Outside of that long run by Dontrell Hilliard, Ryan Tannehill was pretty bad. I mean, he had the worst. I think he's got, outside of Detroit right now, he's got the worst receiving core in the league. Even though I kind of like that Nick Westbrook, Akina guy. He's not bad, but Mac Jones, dude, 23 for 32, 310, and 2 touchdowns, his first 300-yard performance of the season, and every week he just gets better and better and better. And he threw a strike to damn Jacoby Myers. I don't know if you saw that, Jay, but I mean, you talk about his arm all you want versus Kevin Byard, who's a Pro Bowl, all-pro safety. He fit that thing right over the top, like 37 yards down the field on a strike. I mean, Jones is good, man. And still, I tweeted out, and all the comments are, oh, he went to a good situation. Oh, the other rookie quarterbacks aren't playing well. Let's pump the brakes on Mac Jones. No, we ain't pumping no brakes on Mac Jones. We ain't pumping the brakes because after he was drafted, everybody and their mama talked about he wasn't good. He's a product of Alabama. He's by far the best rookie quarterback from the 2021 NFL draft class. He's not even probably, he is the clear front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's going to win the award. He's going to win it. Jamar Chase is the 4th week in a row, has not surpassed 50 receiving yards. Mac Jones has New England after starting 2-4. They've rattled off, 6 straight wins? They're the top seed in the AFC East right now. They get Buffalo on Monday night. Big-time statement game for New England and Buffalo. They both need to win that game. Mac has been incredible. Incredible, man. And I know you're a Patriots fan. What do you think about Mac Jones? Because I know you weren't real excited about drafting him on draft. You weren't happy on draft day. You love Zach Wilson. You thought Zach Wilson was the 2nd best quarterback in the class, maybe even the 1st best quarterback.
Okay, I didn't say that, but
you did. You thought that. So what do you think now that Mac Jones is performing the way he is? And what are your thoughts to all the people out there who still talk about, noodle arm and yada, 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 all that other bullshit?
I'm loving what I'm seeing. And to be fair, we were on him, like you were on him from the beginning, and I think you taught me very quickly why I should like Mac Jones. We've talked about him every week in the preseason because every week he looked better than Cam Newton. And thank the heavens that I didn't have to see Cam. That was my biggest point. I do not want to see Cam Newton this season. I didn't. As much as I was unsure about Mac and I just wanted them to move on and move forward. And finally, they did it. Mac Jones is here, and he's playing so well. Now, to be fair, he had a tough initial stretch. They went 2-2. They ripped off 6 straight against some good opponents, some not so good opponents. Then they close out the season with another tough stretch, and then they finalized with the last couple games. But like you said, next game in Buffalo, Monday Night Football, that is going to be a massive game, not just for Josh Allen, but for Mac Jones as well. That will determine the leader in the AFC East, because they're tied right now, but the Patriots, I believe, have the tiebreak on them. Oh, man, it's crazy, And to be fair as well, they haven't even had their bye yet. Their bye is after that Monday Night Football game.
Dude.
So you think about the Patriots, 14 or 13 straight weeks, Mac Jones has started, no bye week. And we've seen what happens for these rookies after the bye week. Elijah Moore after the bye week, balling. We've seen even Trevor Lawrence played pretty well after the bye week. He's regressing a little bit, but the bye weeks help these quarterbacks out a lot when they're young. It teaches them a lot. It's time for them to actually learn and grow and get better. Mac Jones hasn't even needed that. He's played so good. So how good is he going to look after that bye? Man, I don't know, but he's going to be good.
I think the writing was there when say what you want. He went head-to-head with Tom Brady and held his own.
Yeah.
He went head-to-head with the Dallas Cowboys and held their own. Did that game go to overtime, the Cowboys game? If Nelson Aguilar didn't drop a damn pass, they beat the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people got to hold that L on McCorkle Jones, because the young man, as D-Bro says, shout out to D-Bro, man. Check out Fade the Chalk on FTN's network, man. Check out Fade the Chalk podcast. How they drop a podcast like every day, I don't know. But make sure you check out him, man. He's dope. But he should win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's good. I think he's going to get that.
100%.
And the whole argument for him over Jamar Chase is, again, Justin Jefferson broke Randy Moss's rookie record and didn't win it. He broke his record, snapped it. Boom, didn't win it. Goes to Justin Herbert. Mac is going to get New England in the playoffs. He doesn't turn the ball over very often. He's good with it. He's throwing touchdowns. He's throwing yards. He's going to set the NFL rookie completion percentage record. He's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year unless Jamar Chase goes for like 200 to finish out the season. And it's seeming like a lot of defenses are just like, we're not going to let him beat us. Like, I don't care. T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, do whatever you want. We're not going to let Jamar Chase beat us. And that also does not end well for teams who double up Chase and let T. Higgins and Joe Mixon do their thing. But really impressed. Kendrick Bourne looking great. Imagine how good New England's going to be when they get Garrett Wilson or Drake London
at
wide receiver.
Oh,
They're just going to be so much
Please,
better.
no.
I'm just happy.
Can they just...
I'm elated because a lot of people... I went back and looked at some people's tweets that I knew talk shit, and they deleted them too. But GQ is petty. And I will put together a montage after he wins Rookie of the Year. It's going to be something. It's going to be fantastic. Just wait on it, baby. Just wait on it. All right, where are we at? Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the liar himself. You can't dispute how good he is. He doesn't practice. He doesn't take vaccines, and he's just great. I mean, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. That run where he kind of juked out Jalen Ramsey to go to the end zone, I was like, it's going to be a long day for the Los Angeles Rams, who are now reeling. And, of course, it's Odell Beckham's fault. But, Jay, we got to talk about Matt Stafford. It was reported.
What's there to talk about? Before the game, it was reported that he's dealing with, what is it, some kind of injury, elbow, something is not right with him. And his back is still hurting him.
Yeah, everything is hurting. Now everything is hurting, right? 3 straight games with the pick 6. That's worse than Carson Wentz. Listen, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns. It looks good, but he didn't play well at all. And a lot of that stuff, he got 2 bombs. He had like a 75-yard bomb to Van Jefferson, a 55-yard bomb to Odell Beckham Jr. for a touchdown. Other than that, I'm seeing a lot of Matt Stafford is just Jared Goff with a more expensive contract. I don't know about these Rams, man. Defensively, they got all these defensive stars, and they can't stop anybody. This is like 3 straight weeks. They've looked terrible on defense, man. Terrible.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon.
You know what this reminds me of? is when this reminds me of when the Brooklyn Nets traded for all of the Boston Celtics stars after they were past their prime. You know what I'm saying?
Kevin Garnett,
like,
Paul Pierce, and they were
Pierce
god-awful. They were terrible. Oh, my gosh. Listen, A.J. Dillon made half of the Rams defenders. He was their daddy on Sunday because he's –
when he ran over Taylor Rapp on third down?
Bro.
Oh, my God.
Truck stick, Madden replay – just sunned him something disgusting. I mean, Adams did his usual thing, 8 receptions, 104 yards. Jalen Ramsey, highest paid cornerback in the NFL, doesn't even cover Devontae Adams half the time. Aaron Donald slamming offensive linemen. I don't know what this Rams team. OBJ looked good. Odell Beckham Jr. doesn't look dead, but still people find a way to blame him since he came. They haven't won a game. Matt Stafford looks terrible. He doesn't look good. I told you early on I didn't buy into the MVP hype after a couple of weeks. I was like, I'm not buying it, man. Like, this is Matt Stafford, man. Like, and I'm not just talking about this was Matt Stafford at Georgia. Like, he plays well, and then all of a sudden he goes on an inexplicable just shit streak, and he doesn't look good. You know, this defense isn't good. Offensively, like they should run Darrell Henderson. Run him. Just run him. Run the ball. Do something other than out routes and screenplays to Tyler Higbee. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stafford was throwing behind. There was a play where Beckham ran across the field and he threw the ball back here. It was behind OBJ, and then they could blame him for not running the right route. This Rams team doesn't look good to me, man. Doesn't look good.
Yeah.
That
play was funny too. That play up the right sideline was the play where Sean McVay was yelling into his play sheet. And it's like the most memeable Sean McVay play of all time. But what you're talking about, this is who we've been talking about. Like, you don't hear the media talking about this as much. Maybe they have been. But we've been talking about Stafford and his inconsistencies for weeks now. I don't even remember. It must have been week 8 or maybe week 9. I called him Carson Stafford because he's too inconsistent. He's the most fire and ice quarterback in the NFL by far. And you saw it even in this game. Early in the game, probably mid first quarter, early second quarter, everything he was throwing was going on target. And then all of a sudden he throws that pick 6 and he was just lost out there. And he almost threw another pick later in the game. And then at the end of the game, he almost threw another pick 6 that was dropped. You're just like, man, what are you talking about right now? And Drew Brees talked about it as well on the NBC halftime show in Sunday Night Football, how it's like they just have no chemistry, like at all. Outside of Cooper Kupp, they need Robert Woods. Robert Woods is an excellent blocker. He still runs a lot of reverses.
He's a top 3 receiver, according to Troy Aikman.
He does a lot of stuff that they need in that offense that Odell Beckham just can't do, that Van Jefferson, for some reason, doesn't do.
But
it's bigger. He would be the immediate guy to fill in.
It's bigger than that,
but they also
man.
Suck on defense, too. Like, they're terrible on defense.
It's bigger than that. Their defense stinks. They have no linebackers. I think Stone just said it. They're missing linebackers. Again, Jalen Ramsey is one of the highest paid players in the NFL, period. Why is he not on? I don't care what your scheme is. I don't care. Dude, you're supposed to be that guy. Go get on him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care where he's at. We saw this last week, and I'm just using this for example, but Marshawn Lattimore, he's the guy for New Orleans. Wherever Devontae Smith went, Marshawn Lattimore was right there. That's what you do. Trey White from Buffalo, and he injured his ACL. That's terrible.
Torn ACL, yeah.
Wherever the top receiver goes, Trey White is on the top receiver. Pat Peterson back in his. I don't care your defense. Who's the defensive coordinator there? It's not Bowles. Is it Raheem Morris? I think it's Raheem Morris.
Maybe.
What are you doing, man? Like, and I get it. Him being on Devontae Adams, they tried it a couple of times and it still didn't matter. But damn it, I'm paying you to be that guy. Get your ass over there and man up against Devontae Adams.
But do you think it's a Ramsey problem or a scheme problem? Because Ramsey's done that before.
This is a Rams problem. Ramsey's just under that umbrella, right? This is the Rams. The cohesiveness on the defense doesn't look good at all. Von Miller, I don't know where he's at. Aaron Donald, I mean, he's getting triple teamed still. It's just a microcosm of the entire offense. Like, stop running these damn screens to Tyler Higbee. Why is Sony Michel the main receiving back? I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know Matthew Stafford is struggling down the field. Literally, I mean, he got lucky. That Van Jefferson, that was a good ball. Odell Beckham Jr., good ball. He can still deliver the ball. But, man, this team just seems broken, man. They seem like if you punch the Rams in the mouth early, I do not believe they have the quarter. Watching those two quarterbacks play, there's a big damn difference between Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most glaring thing to me was, man, I mean, he literally made him look like Jared Goff. There's a big difference between, as you look across the theme of Sunday was pathetic quarterback play. That was the theme of Sunday. Cam Newton completed 5 damn passes. Jalen Hurts 3 picks. Lamar Jackson was god-awful.
4 picks.
And yet he was still the best quarterback in that game. Baker stinks. The Thursday night, I mean, honestly, man, if you're the Raiders, you got to lock up Derek Carr. If you're the Cowboys, be glad you have a Dak Prescott. Be glad you have a Teddy Bridgewater. When Drew Lock had to take over, the Broncos god-awful. Daniel Jones stink. I mean, these are supposed to be the 30. There's only 32 of these jobs in the world. 32. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people have probably fathered 32 illegitimate children in their lifetime without knowing, let alone having 32 jobs that are reserved for every in the world. And at least 15 of these guys are god-awful. And that's why we're going to continue to see Kenny Pickett and Carson Strong, Desmond Ridder. I saw a mock draft last night. Desmond Ridder was QB1 off of the board in the mock draft.
No.
Desmond Ridder.
Oh, no.
But we're going to see it. We're going to continue to see E.J. Manuel and Blaine Gabbert and Christian Ponder and Jake Locker get drafted early because you cannot put those kind of guys on the field on Sunday and expect to win. And even when you trade for a guy like Matthew Stafford, who's 2 tiers below Aaron Rodgers, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning. You need a quarterback. You're not going to win without a quarterback. And just watching that game, the Rams are just not that. Whatever's wrong with Stafford, they need to figure it out because it's not going to end well for them. All right, who else? Where else we got? Let's talk about the Monday night matchup because we got other games. We'll save those for tomorrow because I really want to talk about the San Francisco 49ers. We got to talk about the Vikings and Dalvin Cook. We got to talk about the Justin Jefferson curse. There's a lot of stuff that we still need to get to, and we will talk about the Dallas Cowboys a little bit. But tonight we have another atrocious game that we'll be subjected to. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Washington football team. Honestly, I'll probably work. I'll probably be working out. I don't want. I have no interest in this.
Okay, but Ray, here's where we were a little bit wrong last week when we talked about this game. These are 2 of the worst defenses in football, and that's not really debatable. So we could see a game that's like 35-40, which I am for. Why not? Why wouldn't that be good? That would be a good game.
At this point, Russell Wilson's playing like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, so I have no faith that he's going to be able to do anything. Yes.
So Washington is the worst team against the pass. So DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson, if they don't have good games this week, then maybe we start writing off Russell Wilson a little bit. We'll see what happens. And then you got Scary Terry on the other side, Antonio Gibson playing against this god-awful Seattle defense. I'm hoping to see some points. I think it goes over. I don't know who's going to win, though. I think you just take the over, and it's a pick 'em right now, so there's no point in taking the money line either side unless you feel a lot of conviction. I'm on the over. I like the over. And I like DK Metcalf. I like Terry McLaurin, but I don't know who the hell is going to win this game. This game's gonna be bad.
Zero analysis. I hope Terry McLaurin scores some points. I got him in a lot of leagues. I need him to score some points. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Alex Collins, Antonio Gibson. I think Heineke outplays Russell Wilson tonight. Pete Carroll needs to go.
Come on.
I do. I think Taylor Heineke Dude, what has Russ done since coming back? What has he done to give you any confidence that he's going to be able to even throw the ball accurately? But
he's still Russell Wilson. Come on, give him some faith.
He stinks right now.
Faith here.
He's terrible right now. He's not playing well.
Who's worse, him or Matthew Stafford?
Russell Wilson. He stinks.
Oh, man, that's cold.
I get it. He's got a finger injury, but right now he's playing bad football, man. The Seattle is terrible. They're terrible. This is a game honestly, I may do. It'll be on in the background. I'll be doing something else. I have little interest in this. King says Russell Wilson bounces back. We'll see.
If he doesn't, it's a problem because Washington is the worst pass defense in the NFL, and I'm pretty sure they allow the most points in the NFL. So this is like, if this isn't a get-right game for Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, they are in bigger trouble than maybe we even thought.
We absolutely have to talk about the Cowboys. And Bruning said Desmond Ridder shouldn't be a first-round pick. Bruning's been all over Bruning's been over Desmond Ridder. He's still making excuses for Baker Mayfield, who
terrible.
Bro, the sad thing is they've got to extend him. What happened?
How many yards do you think Nick Chubb had last night? Because I didn't even know this answer.
I didn't even remember seeing him in the game, but a couple of times.
16 yards. Man, that's crazy.
And you look across that Cleveland defense, Clowney, Garrett, Johnson, Ward, Owusu-Koramoah.
Harrison.
There's no excuse. Lamar was terrible last night. He probably would tell you that he stunk, and he was still by far that 2018 quarterback class. Baker, Rosen, Darnold. Bro.
But you got Allen, though. You got Allen, too.
You got Allen and you got Lamar out of there. And the thing is, they're going to have to re-sign him. They're going to have to re-sign him because there's nobody. Where else are you going to turn to? Where else are you going to turn to? And somehow, Cleveland fans think Chris Olave is going to be the savior of the Browns team. Look, listen, I'm happy we're back. There's so much to talk about. I don't know, man. I'm just happy we got Lincoln fucking Riley. Let's go. We'll be back tomorrow. More Wake Up with Ray G. We will talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about all the other games that we didn't get to today. We appreciate you tapping in. Subscribe. Check out the Best TV channel. And yeah, baby, we're gonna go watch this Lincoln Riley press conference. We out of this thing. Peace.